So in which province will you pay the least taxes? I'm going to use TurboTax to cover a few scenarios. So I'll start off with a scenario, a single person living alone, making $50,000. And then I'm going to try a different scenario with $100,000. And then a third scenario with 100,000, not 100, sorry, but 200,000. And then a final scenario with $1 million. And then we'll see which province comes out the winner most of the time. So let me go ahead and do that first scenario of $50,000. At the same time, you'll get to see how TurboTax works, how easy it is to do your tax return. So I'm just going to do a really quick return here with just the basic information, just to simulate the scenario of someone making $50,000. And we're going to cover, obviously, we're not going to cover all the provinces, but we're going to start with Alberta. We're going to cover the popular provinces. So I'm going to do Alberta. Now, of course, you can't have one province that will be the right province for everyone, because everyone's situation is different. There's many different factors that can make a difference in which province is best. Sometimes one province can be better if you have kids, for example. Another province can be better if you have a higher income. Another province can be better if you have more medical expenses. So it's not really it's not a perfect answer or one province for all scenarios, but just for fun, we're going to try a single person with a fixed income, no kids, and we're going to cover different provinces just to see in that situation which province is actually the best. So I'm going to go ahead and just give this person a $50,000 income. So we said Alberta, so let's say he's working in Alberta and he's making $50,000. All right, so someone in Alberta making $50,000 will owe $8,165. That's how much taxes they owe if they live in Alberta and making $50,000. So let's log this somewhere. Probably should do it in an Excel spreadsheet. All right, so 50K salary in Alberta is going to owe $81.65, no kids, single person. So now it's going to be easy. I'm just going to go change the province here. We're going to put BC. And I'm going to just change the province on the T4, although it's not going to make a difference, I believe. Yeah, there you go. So no difference. So you can see someone living in BC, taxes owing is $72.88. So between BC and Alberta, BC is actually cheaper for a single person making $50,000. Slightly cheaper though. But like I said, there's other factors to consider. Maybe there are provincial benefits that the government pays in BC but doesn't pay in Alberta, or vice versa. Maybe sales tax is cheaper in Alberta. Maybe you have to consider real estate as well. Your cost of living will be cheaper. So you can't just look at taxes. You have to look at other factors. But in this video, we're just looking at taxes. But it doesn't mean that it's the best province, that it's the final answer. There are other factors to consider, but I thought it would be interesting to see in terms of taxes only which province is actually the best. All right, next province. What do we have as next province? We can choose, instead of BC, we're going to choose Manitoba. So Manitoba, you can see here, $97.55. So that's much higher than Alberta. All right, next province here. Let's see what's on the list. We've got New Brunswick. Let's look at New Brunswick. I think New Brunswick is going to be high. Yeah, almost as high as Manitoba, so $9,022. So next province, let's go to Nova Scotia. Nova Scotia, we've got $9,922. All right, next, let's go to Ontario. That should be a popular one. I wonder if it's the lowest though, $78.64. So it's not the lowest. BC is the lowest for now, but it's still one of the lowest. Let's try Saskatchewan, $87.17. And then finally, let's try the famous Quebec. Now for Quebec, I'm going to have to make some adjustments on the T4. You can see right away Quebec is the highest, $10,240. Let me just make sure that the T4 is filled out correctly, because in Quebec you have provincial slips, and as you can see, the Relevé 1, which is the equivalent of the T4, for Quebec is filled out as well. Let me just make sure. Relevé 1, let's go to Relevé 1. Got to make sure though there's an income there. Perfect, yeah. So yeah, so this is accurate. $10,240 for Quebec. Beautiful. All right, now let's try someone with a 100K salary. So let's stay in Quebec and let's just give this person 100,000 salary. So I'm updating the Relevé 1, and now I want to update the T4 as well and give this person 100,000 salary. Now notice I'm not entering deductions or anything like that. I'm not entering the taxes paid throughout the year, because I'm just comparing how much this person actually owes in taxes. I'm not looking at if they're getting a refund or not based on the particular situation. I just want to see how much they owe in taxes so I can compare province to province which one is the cheapest. All right, so I gave this person 100,000 in T4 income. Perfect. And if this person lives in Quebec, resides in Quebec, they will owe 29,000. Let me just see if the province will make a difference here. I don't think it will, because it's income regardless of where you're making it. Well, it made a small difference. So in the case of Quebec, if you make $100,000, you'll be owing about 29,000. So we're going to put 28,821. 28,821. That's like such a big difference for just double the salary. It's double the salary, but it's not double the taxes exactly. Interesting. All right, let's go back to the province and let's start with Alberta again. So we're going to give this person, we'll put this person in Alberta, and we'll see his taxes drop to 23,405, which is still pretty high though. 23,405. Let's bring this person back to BC. So BC, they'll be owing 21,785. And look at the difference. Double the salary, but almost 3 times the taxes. All right, what if this person resides in Manitoba? 27,559. So actually, it's pretty close to Quebec in this case. Let's send this person to New Brunswick. We've got 26,845. So 26,845 for New Brunswick. Let's try Nova Scotia. So Nova Scotia, 28,528. Still pretty high. Let's try Ontario now, the most popular province. 22,515. Not bad actually. $23,515. And then finally Saskatchewan, $25,206. All right, so we can see here 100K. The winner is BC, British Columbia. That's interesting. But obviously real estate in BC is crazy expensive, so it's not an advantage to live in BC just to pay less taxes, because obviously the cost of living there is impossible. But what's the highest here? We can see the highest in this scenario is Quebec once again, number 1 Quebec. And Nova Scotia is pretty high. Manitoba is pretty high as well. So right after BC, we've got Ontario second best. I didn't know that actually. I didn't think actually Alberta in this case is slightly better, but Ontario's pretty close. I didn't think Ontario was that good. I thought Alberta would be winning in this. All right, now let's try 200,000, and then we're gonna try 1 million salary. Now 1 million is rare because usually if you make a lot of money, you'll be incorporated and you won't be paying yourself that much of a salary. But let's just use that example. Basically, what I'm trying to show is if you make a lot of money, which province is best for you. I guess this would be average, this would be okay, good money, this would be very good money, and then here, this is obviously making a lot of money. So I'm in Saskatchewan. Let's go give this person's income an extra 100,000. So let's give him 200,000. So 200,000. So in Saskatchewan, they'd be paying 66,512. I really like the fact that I'm making double the income, but I'm paying more than double the taxes. All right, so how much? I forgot already. 66,512 for Saskatchewan. 66,512. All right, let's give him Ontario. So residence, province of residence, Ontario. Ontario. Over here, continue. They'll be owing 69,183. Interesting. 69,183. 69,183. So look at this. So Ontario was better at the 100K range. It was better than Saskatchewan. But at the 200K range, Saskatchewan was actually better than Ontario. So you see, not all scenarios are the same. So you can't say one province is better than the other for everyone. it'll be different for everyone. All right, let's try Nova Scotia now. So Nova Scotia, wow, 75,257, 75,257. Next here, let's try New Brunswick, 72,387, 72,387. Next, Manitoba. So province, gonna click back, province, Manitoba over here. We've got 72,437. Wow, very close. 72,437. Next, we've got BC, British Columbia. So back, BC. Okay, BC. How much? 64,260. Nice. 64,260. It is the lowest. 64,260. For now, it is the lowest. 64,260. Good job, BC. Beat Saskatchewan. Now let's try Alberta. I hope Alberta is going to be the lowest. I think Alberta is the lowest when you make a lot of money. So let's try Alberta now. Alberta. So obviously that has to do with the tax brackets, right? Yeah, Alberta 62,588. There you go. Starts to make sense. 62,588. So Alberta is the winner for the 200K range. Actually, I forgot Quebec. Let me go add Quebec, but for sure Quebec is not the winner. So to Quebec, I'm going to have to add a relevé 1 as well. So let's give him the province of Quebec. Quebec, and then let's go give him some income. So T slips, T4 and relevé 1. So he's got 200 on his T4, but he's got 100 on his relevé 1. So we have to give him 200 on his relevé 1. Why is it not changing? And I'm going to update the province because it's going to make a small difference. So province of Quebec. So 77,273 for Quebec. Actually, I thought it would be much higher. 77,273. It is the highest. So once again, you cannot beat Quebec. It's number one in all scenarios. 77 for Quebec, and then you've got 75 Nova Scotia second. But then the lowest is Alberta, which is expected. Because if you look at the tax brackets for Alberta, it does make sense that the higher you make, the less taxes you'll pay. All right, finally, let's try the $1 million scenario. So let's start off with Quebec. Let's give this person 1 million. Now, of course, not all income is the same. If you have employment income or if you have dividend income, for example, it's not going to be taxed the same way. But I'm just giving you, in this scenario, what if you have a taxable income of $1 million, or net income of $1 million, or even employment income of $1 million. So $1 million, and then we're gonna go to the relevé 1. I'm gonna give him $1 million as well, and I'm already in the Quebec province. So this person on 1 million is gonna owe half of his income in taxes, 503,000. Beautiful. 503,057. 503,057. All right, let's quickly get out of this province and go to Saskatchewan. So, province, my info, province of residence, Saskatchewan. Where's SK? Saskatchewan, yep. And this person will be paying 455,726. 445,726. 445,726. 445,726. Next, let's go to Ontario. So click back. Choose Ontario, click continue, and we've got 496,472 for Ontario. 496,472. So it definitely beats Quebec, but it's pretty close to Quebec. So as you can see, the advantage Ontario had over Quebec disappears as you start making more money. Although 69 to 77 is a good difference, but I mean 496 to 503. Making 1 million is not a difference. So in this case, it's not going to be a deal breaker. All right, next, let's go to Nova Scotia. Nova Scotia as province of residence, Nova Scotia. Continue. 506,471. Is it beating Quebec? 506,471. Yes, it is. Oh my God. Quebec lost its podium. 506,471. I'm actually a little bit disappointed. It would have been funny to see Quebec being number one in all scenarios. All right, 506,471 for Nova Scotia, and we've got that's sad. All right, next, what do we got? We've got Nova Scotia. I did Ontario. We've got New Brunswick. Let's do New Brunswick. New Brunswick 498. Okay, we're getting pretty close to each other. Not a big difference. 498,000. So really, Saskatchewan, for the moment, has the biggest. Is the one that's significantly cheaper than the other provinces right now. All right, let's do Manitoba. Manitoba has been high normally, so let's see what it is in this case. All right, Manitoba, we've got 474,852. 474,852. So where does it stand? Okay, well, it's better than the others by at least 25,000, but still Saskatchewan is better by 30,000. But yeah, okay, interesting. So BC has been pretty good, and I think Alberta will end up being the winner. All right, let's try BC and Alberta. All right, province of residence, BC. BC. 490,000. Wow, all pretty much the same. And then finally, for the win, Alberta. Let's see, Alberta. Continue. We've got 444,000. Yeah, it's for the win, but not by that much actually. I already forgot the number. 444, 444, 433. 444, 433. So which one had 445? It was Saskatchewan. Yeah, so Alberta is number one, but Saskatchewan is pretty close. But Quebec is obviously probably the worst province in terms of income taxes. So I actually fall in this scenario and I live in Quebec. So I'm paying 28. So I'm in the province that pays the most taxes in my scenario. But of course, I have to consider that I'm married and I have 2 kids. So in Quebec, we do have tax credits that maybe other provinces don't have, or in addition to the federal credits, we also have child benefits that the province of Quebec pays. Maybe other provinces don't pay. Also, our real estate is much cheaper. I mean, real estate in Ontario I could never afford, but in Quebec I could buy, like, I think my house in Ontario would probably go over $1 million easily, while I only paid 400,000 in Quebec. So I have to consider things like that. I was once considering Calgary as well, but real estate was more expensive than Quebec. And yeah, in my situation, I think I would have been paying less taxes in Alberta overall. I wouldn't be getting the child benefits that I'm getting from Quebec, so I would have to consider that as well. But also an RSP deduction, the same RSP deduction in Quebec will give me a bigger credit than if I am in Alberta. So that's something else to consider. At the $50,000 range, you could definitely see BC is the cheapest, but once again, real estate is very expensive in BC. Rent is probably expensive as well. So there's really a lot of factors to consider before just looking at the income taxes paid. But I would say in conclusion, Quebec is the most expensive in taxes. BC is the cheapest when your income is low. But then when your income is the highest, when your income is high, Alberta is the cheapest. And if you look at the Alberta tax bracket, it does make sense why it's cheaper when your income is higher. You can see that the max rate for Alberta is 15%. So anything over 300,000, you're paying 15%. So whether you make 500 or $1 million, it's not going to matter. It's going to be the same 15%. While other provinces, the brackets probably change. You can see with Quebec, if you're making over 110,000, your bracket, your income tax rate is 25%. The threshold with Quebec is less than the threshold with Alberta, 100,000 versus 300,000. Not only that, but you start paying more taxes sooner, and you're paying 10% more compared to Alberta. So that explains why. It's cheaper in Alberta compared to Quebec in terms of taxes. I am curious to see why BC was pretty cheap. So the highest tax rate is 20%, and it only happens above 222,000. So yeah, so it explains why when we had low income, our taxes was much lower. You can see it starts at 5% on the first 42,000. Yeah, the rates are pretty low, and then it only goes to 20% when you're above 200,000. So it makes sense why BC was pretty cheap when your income was low. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this video. Like I said, it was just out of curiosity, just a different point of view. If you enjoy evaluating which province is best for income taxes. If you want me to cover different scenarios, it's really not complicated. Just let me know in the comment section below. Also check out the referral links below. Thanks for watching.